Hello. How are you? The goddamn crew is here. The crew is here. Crewing it up. Crewing it up. You're sober tonight, huh? I'm not. But that's hardly ever true of me. I'm always slightly ripped, slightly twisted. I got a nice clean pipe tonight, too. Clean this bad boy out like gangbusters today. Lightly toasted, lightly roasted, slightly burnt to a crisp. Yep, that's me. That's the way I stay. Oh yeah, that pipe is clean. Save the resin for a rainy day. I smoked what I could get out of it. You guys saw me the other night smoking out the goddamn resin. What little bit was in there clogging up the path and shit, it got itself scraped out. You can't get every little bit. What's popping? Brand new whip just hopped in. Is Cali getting the same heat wave as Oregon and Washington? It's supposed to be 115 tomorrow where I'm at. Well, we kind of talked about it today a little bit on the grease trap that we filmed for our $10 patrons. Where I'm at in California, this is not a heat wave. So where I'm at in California, it's relatively common for us to be at like triple digit temperatures for the next couple of months. It's like not uncommon, but like obviously in Seattle, it's completely uncommon. Thanks, Cloud. Coyotes or siren, some weird siren. But yeah, people are gonna fucking die in the PNW, dude. People are gonna die in the Seattle area. I'm not even joking. Like most people there don't have air conditioners because there's no point. Like there's literally no point to having air conditioners until now. Dinoaur'e does not howl at sirens. No, he's not a siren howler. He doesn't howl at anything. I've never heard Dinoaur'e howl. It's got a little bit of like a howly bark, I guess, but a slightly howly bark. Excuse me. It's too warm. Too warm to have this fucking blanket on my shoulders and neck. So let's take care of that the best we can here. This is just like one of those this like heat wave, quote unquote, in these areas that have never seen these types of temperatures before or haven't seen them in 100 years. This is just another one of those oh shit moments that's gonna become like normal. Like within, just a few more years of this bullshit, these types of moments are gonna become completely and utterly fucking passe. That part of the world is either going to get fucking air conditioned or people are going to move out of it or both. And we're all just going to kind of go on and wait for the next oh shit. You about to pull a Britney Spears? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, dude, it's fucked. Y'all are fucked up there. I don't know what to tell you. I could tell you this. I lived in Bellevue, Washington for a year, and about as hot as it got over there was like 90 on a couple of days. And on those days, I would fucking open up my windows and get all the cold air in I could at night, and then close all my windows and curtains and keep that cold air in all day. And that was really the only way to get through it. When there's no cold air coming in and it's fucking 30 degrees hotter than it was then, you can't even be indoors. I was telling TJ today, I was like, they lived in a house that had climate control and shit. They were renting a house. I was renting an apartment, no climate control in that motherfucker. And so I was like, dude, if we were still living there and this heat wave hit, I wouldn't be able to be in my house during the day. Like, I would have to go hang out at the fucking mall all day. Like, just like see endless back-to-back movies while the sun was up, because it would be completely unbearable in that apartment. And even at night, I would have to fucking wait until it got whatever the coolest it was going to get, 75 degrees or whatever, and then just pump air through it to make it livable enough for me to be in there at night and sleep in it. So I'm just telling you, man, this is just another one of those fucking things that everybody's like going, oh my God, what the fuck? And it's just like, dude, this has been on the horizon for a hot minute. People have been screaming about this for a hot minute, and here it is. Everybody's pretending to be all shocked by it. It's like they've only been telling us this shit was gonna fucking happen since before I was born. They've only been telling us that the earth is getting fucking hotter and that these weather events and fucking heat waves and droughts and shit and giant storms in the Gulf were only gonna get worse. They've been telling us and telling us and telling us and telling us. Then when it finally comes around, everybody goes, oh my God. It's like, people are scared shitless, but not scared shitless enough to change the way they live or demand that change of their fucking government. We're scared shitless, but we somehow think that we're going to get to keep our plastic and our styrofoam and our fucking gas guzzlers and our strip mall fucking Suburbans and our, fucking endless gluttony and endless waste. I mean, it's all, it's all too comfortable right now. And this is a little bit of discomfort, but it's localized discomfort. It's people in the PNW, and soon enough, summer will be over, and those people will just go, dodged another one, and everything will be back to normal again until next year. If you have an ERCOT app, you can see Texas is close to overloading its power grid, even in the weather it was designed for. So tired of this shit. Yeah. Hello, Dust Mop. Hello, baby. How are you? Dude, you're tearing it up in there, dude. I walk in there, and I watch you playing that game, and I feel bad for even being there, because I know my presence is causing you to fucking be slightly less good. Like, you're like, oh shit, he's watching, I better fucking. I'm just like, dude, you're like 10 times better at that game than I ever was.
You just got bored of it. It took me a lot longer to beat than you did.
I mean, but what does that matter in the end? Look who it is. It's Skep G. Good old Skep G back in the house. Have you forgiven me now, Skep G? You were pretty mad at me for a while there, Skep G. But now I'm getting multicolored hearts from you. I'm guessing that means I am forgiven. Good old Skep G. I'm waiting for the national service announcement for wet bulb temps. I mean, I don't know what they're going to end up calling it, but these have already cropped up. There are already days where like they'll say dangerous humidity index in Louisiana. Like we used to get those all the time. Like it's just like you can't be outside, you know, remain indoors or limit outdoor exposure or whatever the fuck. So Skep G. Oh, Skep G.
I mean, like, it's especially bad in places like Washington where it's uncommon to be this hot because people just aren't fucking built for it.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's like not only are they not built for it, the infrastructure isn't built for it. The power grid isn't built for it. They're I get, what do you think people are doing that don't have air conditioners and are living through their third 100-degree day? They're ordering, going out, buying out fucking plug-in units.
Or they're just wandering around Walmart as long as they can possibly stand it.
Well, that's what I was telling them. I was like, if I had never moved from Bellevue and we were still there during this, I would literally not be able to be in my apartment probably from about noon to 8 or 9 when the sun started to go down. It'd be unbearable. I would have to go like just buy 6 movie tickets and like go to the movies at noon. See 3 movies, you know, walk outside, check the temperature, maybe go see a 4th. That would be my day. Or just hanging around the mall or sitting in a Starbucks or something with free AC. Like I would literally not be able to be at my house. So, you know, like what you got to imagine, a lot of people are trying to combat this by going and buying these little window units, these indoor air conditioners that suck hot air in and crank it out. And those things are less efficient than rooftop air conditioning units.
Yeah.
They use more power than rooftop air conditioning units per square foot. People are buying them, throwing them on the grid at a time when the grid normally isn't taxed half that hard because nobody's plugging in an AC unit. And now 90,000 people a day are buying AC units in the Pacific Northwest, and that's getting added to the fucking grid every day. So here's what's going to happen. The people that do have fucking AC, there's going to be brownouts. Too many more days of this and too many more fucking AC units coming online and more people running their ACs at max at a time when they're usually not even turning them on. There's going to be brownouts, which means that it doesn't matter if you've got AC, and it doesn't matter if you've got a window unit, and it doesn't matter if you can walk down to the fucking mall because it's all fucking got no power. And now you've got no choice but to go to a body of water and try and get wet. This is what I'm talking about, dude. People are going to fucking die up there. It was 115 degrees the other day in Portland, Oregon.
Which is insane.
That's unheard of.
Yeah.
It shattered the all-time record. Just like blew it completely out of the water.
It's like at this point, it'd be more fucking efficient for them to just like literally like, all right, everyone gets to chill in Walmart all day instead of running ACs at their house.
Something. I mean, but here's the thing: is like we need more like power capacity. That's all there is to it. Our power grid is fucking from the 50s in a lot of these places. It can't handle it. Texas is about to go under again. In the middle of the summer this time. So now that the heat is hitting them, their fucking power grid's about to blow again. It's like, we gotta address this shit. This is just basics. Like, you cannot live in a place that's a fucking 115 degrees with indoors with no AC. You can't do it. It'll be 130 inside. It's like the oven effect, they call it. Heat gets trapped inside of these smaller structures, and because they're insulated, it can't escape. And so the heat slowly climbs higher than it is outside. It's the same reason why you don't leave your kid in the fucking car or a dog in the car and run into the store, because it could get like instantly almost can be 130 degrees in your fucking car. That's death. You can't survive it. Think about that shit. It's 15 degrees from unsurvivable temperatures in Portland, Oregon. 15 degrees hotter in Portland, Oregon, and people can't go outside. People can't stay inside. People are dying in the street. 20 degrees hotter, and they're literally just dying. Think about that shit. 20 degree swing, and it's a death zone. People aren't thinking about that. 115 degrees in an area that isn't supposed to be 115 degrees? Dude, 15 more degrees and it's a death zone. Dude, you listen to here. You hear that shit? All night. Not even the 4th of July yet. We're still a fucking week away from that. And people are firing off illegal fireworks here during the driest fucking season in a generation, after just burning down the fucking literal hillside surrounding here. All night. All day. This state is going to burn. Again. What didn't burn last year is going to burn this year. Because if it's happening down here, it's happening up there, the foothills, where all the dry shit has trees that can burn. It's fucked. They could burn my shit. You know how quickly these fucking eucalyptus trees will go up if a big enough ember gets in them? They're dry as fuck. They're desert trees. What do you think was burning in fucking Australia last year? The eucalyptus groves. Last year, my neighbor caught his yard on fire 3 times. So glad he moved out. Dude, one year, there's this dude that lives across the street from my mom that they kind of have like, it's not like a full-blown feud with, but they don't like each other, right? And he parties a lot. My mom parties a lot. And that's probably why, because they party at different levels. You know what I mean? My mom has like family get-togethers and he has ragers, right? On 4th of July, my mom gets together and has a barbecue with the family, and we all bring safe and sane California fireworks and we set them off even though they suck, and we go yay. And his ass has got a giant fucking, 4-inch launch tube out there, and he's just boom, 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 right? So we're all, this is I can't remember what year it was. We're all kicking it. It must have been like it had to have been the year that I was fucking up in Bellevue, because I came back to visit my mom that 4th of July. That was the first time I came back to visit my mom since I'd moved away from California. So that was it. So I was living in Bellevue, so that would have been like, what, 2017, something like that. And I came back, we're kicking in my mom's backyard, and we hear the idiots are setting off fireworks, her neighbors. My mom is like a total fucking busybody and shit. And so she's like bitching about it under her breath. She's like, those fucking idiots over there, goddamn, every fucking year. They're gonna set my roof on fire one of these. As she's bitching, I shit you not, we hear, oh fuck! Clank, thunk. So what happened is somebody went to light it and their dumbass knocked over the tube, and it fired, hit my mom's truck, and exploded in a shower of sparks into my mom's backyard where we were all sitting. It literally hit my dad's truck, blew up. Or my mom and dad's truck, the fucking truck they used to pull their trailer and get back and forth to work. Well, not work anymore, I guess. They're both retired now. But whatever, it's their vehicle. Hits the side of their truck, dink, blows up, and sparks just went like right into the backyard. And we're all like, oh my fucking God. So my stepdad went out there, yelled at that dude. I went out there and stood there because I thought, like, dude, if this guy gets fucking brolic, I'm going to have to go jump in for my stepdad. But the guy was real apologetic. I think because he knew that he'd fucked up in a way that my stepdad could fucking, like...
Sue.
Right. You firing off illegal fireworks and shit.
Yeah, like even just calling the cops would fuck him.
Right, exactly. And so he was real, like, the other guy was real receptive to whatever. And my stepdad was like, look, you're going to come over here tomorrow in the light. We're going to look at my truck. We're going to take a look at the damage. And then we're going to go on down to the body shop and get whatever you did to it fixed. I'm going to take a look at my property and see if you burned anything. And if you did that, we'll talk about that tomorrow, too. And as for the rest of the night, I should hope you're done firing off fireworks for the night. Because if I hear another one go off, I'm going to call the fucking cops. All right, bro. All right. Didn't shoot off any more fireworks, but the next year, boom, boom, woo, everybody's out there with their Coronas, drunk as fuck, doing it again. It's just like nobody ever learns. You know, and it's not like this. My mom lives out in the middle of nowhere. My mom lives in a tight, compact, little, like, planned neighborhood where it's like house, you know. I'm telling you, dude. Well, I'm telling you'd have to fight, Jawan, because I'm just telling you, the guy that the reason why I did not want the fucking shit to go south is because this dude is not alone over there. He's a big Hispanic guy who's got a big Hispanic family. They're over there, they're drunk, they're pissed drunk. So shit goes fucking south. I ain't no fucking ninja, bro. I'm about to catch a beat down with my stepdad in the street. So, you know what I mean? Unless I brought my cousins and a couple other people. But then it's a fucking full-blown brawl in the street. You know what I mean? If my cousins are there, pobrecito. Yeah, West Side Story shit. When you're a jet all the way, from your first cigarette to your last dying day. So, like, I don't want that shit to happen, dude. I've seen those guys over there. Like, I've met them. They're Raiders fans. They're big. They're brolic looking. Like, I don't know if they're fighters or whatever, but they look like they could put a big old ham fist upside your head and knock you the fuck out. You know, I don't want to deal with that shit. And my cousins are wrecking balls, so it's just going to be a goddamn melee in the streets. You know what the stupidest part of this shit is? My mom lives near a place where they set off fireworks. You can see like the actual city fireworks from her property and from his property. So it's just like there's literally no point to it. The city puts on a big firework display every year, and, you know, with the actual fireworks, because they're the city, and you can see them from my mom's house and this dude's house. So it's just like, have a money. Thanks, Chris. A competitive basketball game? Yeah, no way, dude. That's a cool scene, though. Although one thing about that scene that I don't buy is that Ethan Suplee was able to play full court fucking basketball for that many points. There's just no fucking way, dude. That guy would have collapsed with a heart attack after fucking running that court 1 or 2 times, dude. I'm telling you, as big as he was at that point, I've never been that big in my life, bro. Not even close. He was probably like, I don't know what Suplee topped out at, but I want to say it was something like 450 pounds, dude. Maybe even 500 pounds. Dude, he was big. So that scene is kind of like undermined by the fact that his big fat ass is actually out there playing full court. Dude, Ethan Suplee isn't even Ethan Suplee anymore. Ethan Suplee he's one of those people that like completely transformed himself. Like if you saw him and you didn't know he was Ethan Suplee, you would never know he was Ethan Suplee. He's literally jacked. Ethan Scientology, yeah, pretty much. Another Scientologist. A lot of people don't know that shit. Dude, there's a ton of Scientologists that people like don't know are Scientologists. Did Suplee leave? Did he blow? I know he was a Scientologist for a while. Yeah, Beck. Beck was born into Scientology. His parents are Scientologists. Hey, Marshall, you gonna let me ride that beat or what? Or is that beat already rode all the way to the end, bro? Because if that beat's already rode all the way to the end, but I heard that beat and I heard that flow and, you know what I mean? I ain't gonna try and beat it, but I can make it look better by putting a worse flow on there for you. I can highlight it by having my flow be not... Dude, let me ride that beat then. If you don't care. Oh, yeah, dude. That new song is fucking straight fire, dude. Another one that I just put on repeat today. Or I think it was yesterday. Yeah, yesterday before we fucking... I woke up, went over to my desktop, and just set that motherfucker up when it dropped. But yeah, dude, Marshall's killing it right now, dude. But of course. Do you think America could solve some water problems by building a flood relief pipeline from the Midwest and South Cali and this? I don't even fucking know, bro. The pipeline you're talking about would be absurd. In size, length, volume, complexity, I don't even know if it's possible, bro. Especially considering that things are just getting worse out there. So we're gonna need more and more and more and more and more. There's a lot of unaccessed water in California. Yeah, it's called like the last few remaining rivers that haven't been dammed. The last few remaining habitats for dozens of California native fish species and freshwater fish and salmon and fucking all that shit. So yeah, you're right. There's tons of untapped water in California if we dam up every last fucking river that's left. And that's what all the farmers that are out here are fucking advocating for. All the way up the fucking 99 or 41 corridor, right through the gut of fucking Central California. There are signs on every fucking farm that you pass, which is a ton. Like, water equals life. Dam the rivers. Save the farms. Save the food. Blah, blah, blah. Pray for rain. That wouldn't even solve it, Ingrid. Like, California, even without the farming, would still be over budgeted on its water. just given the amount of people that live in California. So it's like the farming is just exacerbates the situation to the umpteenth degree. It might slow the fucking that's all there is. Yeah, you saw it, Phoebes, when you were driving through. Build more dams. Me and Amelia were joking when we were driving through that same corridor up to Pismo. We were like, I was like, dude, they need to hire me, because I just thought of a better slogan. You know, California, it's about damn time, right? But not DAMN, just DAM. I didn't see that one time, and I was like, dude, politicians need to hire me up in here, dude. The first California politician that runs on that is going to win this valley. That's the slogan right there. Why does everybody hate Newsom? I don't know much about California politics, bro. I try to tell people. There were people that were like, because I made this call, like, Newsom's getting recalled. And then it, like, right after the pandemic lockdown started to lift, Newsom was polling high, and everybody was like, Paul thinks he knows California politics, but he doesn't. Newsom's getting recalled. So I could try to explain it to you. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Here in California, the recall process is something that it exists in like a lot of other states. I don't know which ones have the same type of process that California has, but we love it here. We love it here. Like, that's our shit in California. We love electing a governor and then spanking his ass out of office and putting another dude in there, even if it does nothing. Like, we love it. It makes us feel like, and you know, whatever, it is a little bit of political action, you know what I mean? But yeah, no, in California, we love doing that shit. That's why I knew as soon as there was rumblings about a recall of Gavin Newsom, I was like, he's going to be recalled. I don't know if he'll end up actually being recalled, but it's like being impeached. So the recall election is him being recalled, right? It doesn't mean he loses, and he might win the recall election. But he's definitely getting recalled. We're definitely putting up the whole cornucopia of California fucking weirdos, and it's going to be, you know, we love it here. We got a dude touring the fucking state with a bear. He has a grizzly bear that he's running around California with, and he brings it to political rallies, and the bear does tricks and shit. Like, I'm telling you, man, the fucking circus has begun. Dude, there were some mouthy motherfuckers, too. I made that take. I can't remember where it was. I think it was on a flash fried, and the fucking comment section is just filled with actually dudes. Like, Paul doesn't know what he's talking about. Paul doesn't know what he's talking about. Gavin Newsom's polling at 72% approval. Looks like Paul doesn't know anything about California politics. And here we are, fucking a month later, and he's about to be recalled. The support for the recall is at like 62%. It's like, it's over. He's gonna go up. I think they did stop the bear thing, but I'm just letting you know. The fucking it started here in California. We love it. Who was the guy before Arnold? That was Gray Davis. And Gray Davis was not polling well, because Gray Davis was the governor during the Enron deregulation scandal in California, where Enron lobbied and successfully won a referendum in California to privatize the grid, kind of like what happened in Texas. And the power grid was immediately, like, there were blackouts and brownouts in California, and Enron was profiting to, you know, they call it arbitrage levels of profit. They're literally making an abnormal level of profit moving this power around because they've created a bunch of power crises in California. And Gray Davis was the Democratic governor of California at the time of that. So his ass was grass. You know what I mean? Fucking Newsom, you know, he kind of, like, a lot of people were pissed off at him about the lockdowns and the COVID restrictions and the kind of wishy-washiness of the open back up, close back down. shit. But like I'm telling you, man, his goodwill is way higher than Gray's was. At that point, everybody was pointing the finger at Gray Davis. Their power was going out in the middle of summer, and they were like, it's fucking Gray Davis. He's the fucking head person in this. And he really had nothing to do with it. Gray Davis actually opposed the deregulation of the power grid and fought it with everything he could as the governor, but it was a referendum. You know what I mean? It was a California, whatever they call it, a ballot initiative. So he got fucked over, Gray Davis. Not to defend him, he's not a great politician or anything, but he got fucked over, and that's how we got Arnie. Like once a California governor gets on the wrong side of enough voters, they're getting recalled. That doesn't mean they lose. It means they're getting their asses recalled. We do it here every fucking time. People don't believe me. Just look at the history. Is there a term limit in California for governor? Yeah, I think it's 2 terms. I think you term out at 2 consecutive terms. But you can serve non-consecutive terms, I believe. In excess of 2. Because I know that fucking what's his name, Brown, has been the governor of California like 3 times. So I'm pretty sure it's like 2 consecutive terms you term out, but then you can serve another term later. Who's your favorite California governor? I mean, they all suck politically. Really in my lifetime hasn't been a California governor that's worth fucking writing home to mama about. And so I just got to pick on sheer entertainment value. How do you not pick Arnold Schwarzenegger, dude? The Terminator was my governor, and I'm supposed to pick one of these other fucking stuffed suit dorks. It's like, nah, man, nah. The Terminator, bro. Who else? Like nobody else was governed by the goddamn motherfucking Terminator. You got to pick him, right? And his fucking whole campaign was ridiculous. Pure California. Only in California would a campaign that fucking ridiculous. He literally would go on and be like, to Governor Gray Davis, you are terminated. And people were like, yeah. Only in fucking Cali, bro. Governor Gray Davis, you want to be back. We're a special kind of fucking stupid out here. Let's just put it that way. But I have my finger on the pulse of that stupidity, dude. I'm a California boy through and through. I know this state. Dude, you got questions about this fucking state? Which way the wind is going to blow in this state? You want fucking hot takes on what's going to happen in California and shit? Dude, I'm your man. Because I just know it like the back of my ass, you know what I mean? I know the politics here. I know the different groups. I know where they reside and what their fucking, sphere of influence is. I know a little bit about how political power moves around fucking Cali and, from the local to the county to the fucking state levels and then through to the national levels. So, California is a weird place, bro. The politics of California, people think California is just this hippy dippy Democrat state, and that could not be further from the truth, dude. California is a microcosm of every type of political weirdness you can come up with, dude. We got libertarians, we got hardcore Trumpers, we got fucking literal anarchist, communist, separatist, fucking Antifa types, all living cheek by jowl here in California. It's crazy. It's a crazy place. It's easily the most diverse state in the nation, without a doubt. California is basically just a microcosm of America, but in one state. It really is. Every major racial demographic is present in California that's present in the United States proper. Most of the smaller racial demographics, places from which very few people immigrate, most of those people end up landing in California. Have you noticed any price changes since the big Texas migration? The big Texas migration was a myth. It was a media story, bro. It didn't happen. At least not from the perspective of people that live in California. You have to understand, and I've explained this to people before, but I'll go through it again since we're talking Cali business. There's always the great Cali exodus. People are leaving. They're going to Nevada because lower taxes. They're going to Texas because this. People are fleeing in droves from California to Arizona. And dude, the truth of the matter is they do. The thing is with California, it's its own magnet. So you have to understand that for every salty motherfucker pulling out of California with an Arizona or bust sticker on the back of his car, a fucking Texas or bust sticker on the back of his car, there are 3 slack-jawed yokels from somewhere else in the United States pulling in. So from the perspective of a Californian, you want to read the news stories or look at the demographics or look at the numbers or whatever the fuck and tell me that there was an actual story there, whatever. From the perspective of a Californian, we didn't even notice. Because it's always happening here. There are always tons of people leaving Cali and always tons of people coming to Cali, and that's never stopped. It's not like we're all suddenly like walking around empty streets going like, watching tumbleweeds blow by on Main Street and shit going like, where'd everybody go? Hello, hello. You know what I mean? Nobody left. It's still teeming with people. Traffic still fucking sucks. LA is still overflowing with people. It just never happened, y'all. Sorry. You know, if you bought into that shit, you got played. You know, you read a news story. You got played. It didn't happen. Taxes are pretty fucking bad in Cali. I'm not even gonna lie, dude. In comparison with other places, absolutely. Lots of people from China move to California or New York. People from everywhere move here. Those are the 2 places where people from everywhere land. People from fucking Somalia, people from Laos, people from fucking South America, Central America, people from China, people from Russia, people from fucking the Ukraine. It's all here. Dude, in California, I've met people of every fucking nationality you can conceive of. I've shopped in their stores. You don't understand, bro. Everything is here. This is the landing spot. This is where people end up when they come to America. I don't care what the fucking census said. What you're talking about is what was the fucking functional difference in California on the ground. If California is losing census seats, then hey, dude, there was a big fucking bunch of people that just left. I guarantee you that vacuum will be filled. For every salty fuck that leaves this state, there are 2 that come in. I don't know the truth of the census data, though. Like, you just don't understand, man. Nobody left. The people that left were people that came here 2 years ago and got busted out. That happens all the time, bro. That's not Cal exit. That's not people like fleeing Cali. That's just California doing what it does best, busting out dreamers. They call it the land of broken dreams over here, dude. Yeah, everybody saw Joe Rogan leave and thought that like he took all of California with him. California didn't even skip a beat, bro. I don't really think they're all that the best. I'm just talking, I'm just talking facts about California. Joe Rogan is going to be back. I bet. Well, I don't know. I mean, he doesn't really have to be. He's a multimillionaire, so he can ride it out wherever. Are you enjoying the heat and drought, Paul? Used to it. I grew up in this shit, so. Nothing new under the sun for me on that front. I don't know, dude. Joe Rogan is what he is. People take him way too seriously. Like, the only problem with Joe Rogan is the fact that so many people hang on everything he says. Like, dude is not all that smart, so? He's given some real interesting interviews. He's got some stupid fucking dunderheaded takes on things. But he gets people talking. He's had some real interesting shit. He's got a platform. You know what I mean? Just see him for what he is. He's an MMA guy that got fucking real lucky because he had a lot of comedian friends and shit. And landed himself in a fucking great job. Right, he's a conduit for ideas. He's kind of like a sponge. He kind of absorbs, you know, anything that his interviewee puts out usually. You know? And that makes for an engaging listening experience. For some people. I don't really listen to Joe Rogan. Why won't Joe Rogan interview Jordan Chariton? I don't even know who that is, bro. I literally only watch Rogan for MMA content. All right, well, whatever. I didn't watch him for that, you know. Oh, man. TJ had a couple of conversations with TJ. Whoa, he's interviewing himself now. No, I know. TJ went on Joe Rogan a couple of times. He said he liked the guy, you know what I mean? He says pretty cool guy, pretty hospitable, pretty amicable, pretty easy to work with. Didn't have anything negative to say about the guy. Didn't feel like he was railroaded in the discussion or anything. I've never heard out of TJ that he felt like Joe Rogan was too stupid to follow the concepts that they talked about or anything. So, you know, I kind of go with TJ's view of it, considering that he's met Joe a couple of times and been in that environment that pretty much nobody else can claim to have been in. And I take his word for it rather than people's perceptions of Joe Rogan. I'm not trying to defend the guy. I don't think he's all that smart, but I don't think he really claims to be all that fucking smart either. I think Joe Rogan owns up to the fact that he's a big dude bro, you know what I mean? But he's a dude bro that's interested in stuff. Crescent Slice, I gotta be honest with you, dude. And I'm gonna give it to you straight, all right? I don't want him banned or timed out. I want you to hear me out, though. When people come at me, and I want you to read that last comment. I want everybody to read your last comment, okay? When people come at me like they're my mom and they've got a list of chores for me to do, like I talked about how I might move my fucking streams to indoor streams, but I haven't done that yet, and you're like my mom nagging me about when I'm gonna do my chores, it makes me want to fucking ban you up out of here, bro. It makes me literally want to ban you up out of here. So I tell you what, dude, the next time you fucking nag me about anything, especially in the middle of a conversation about something else, I'm going to dunk on you. Cool? And then there will be no more Crescent Slice up in here. Because I don't need to hear it. I don't need to be reminded of things that I've talked about in the past. I don't need to be put on your fucking timetable for anything. It just rubs me the wrong fucking way, bro. And I'm used to, like, plebs that I don't recognize coming at me like that, but to see somebody that's like a regular chatter or whatever the fuck coming at me like a naggy girlfriend or a naggy mom or some shit, bruh. I'm not looking for that. I'm way too old for that shit. Way too old and cranky for that fucking shit. Yeah, dude, just naggy mom vibes all over that. Hey, I thought you said you were gonna stop doing these outside streams because it was too hot. Question mark, question mark, question mark. It's like, dude, bruh. Simmer down. Not even Karen vibes, just like literal naggy ass mom vibes, bro. Literal, like you said you were gonna mow the lawn and you didn't mow the lawn. Like, motherfucker, you don't run me. All right? Sets me off. I don't like being told what to fucking do, how to do it, when I gotta do it. I don't like being reminded of bullshit. I know how to make a decision. I know how to not do outside streams if it's too hot. If it was too hot, I wouldn't be sitting out here, bruh. I'm a grown-ass man. Yeah, dude, that cup has been in your room for 3 days, mister. I want that room spick and span. It's like, fuck you. Oh, my nuts. Like, at what point during my fucking streaming escapades over the last... How many goddamn fucking years have I been doing this now? Started in 2007. And now it's 2021. Somebody do the fucking math for me. It's been a lot of years. What led you to believe that I give a motherfuck what you think I ought to do? Paul, what changed? Not a goddamn thing. Still DRE. Still got love for the streets. My ego got bigger. Dude, I'm one of the most fucking self-effacing people you'll ever meet on the internet, dude. I spend at least as much time fucking on myself as I spend fucking on all of you. So don't give me that shit. Don't give me that big ego shit. I mean, everybody that does this to a certain extent's got a little ego on them, but don't give me that, like, puffed up, boy, got big ego thing. Come on, man. Don't throw that shit at me when there's fucking Keemstars in the world. You know what I mean? Give me a little fucking credit for being self-effacing here. I blubbered in front of you guys because I found one of my old teachers. Unreal, bro. In what way has my ego gotten bigger, bro? Go back and look at the Logic series, which was released in 2007, 2008. Look at how fucking brash and dismissive and shitty I am to people like fucking the Fifth Watcher and Venom Fang X. And tell me how my ego's bigger or how I'm conducting myself any different. You know what changed? I grew a beard and grew my hair out. And I got older. That's it. Any other perceived change is in your fucking mind, dude. Yeah. I named myself Paul's Ego. I mean, come on. Still selling records all around the world. Still hitting the corners in them lolos, girl. Nope, you can't be my mommy. Quit being fucking weird. You're stuck in a Lovecraft story. Which one do you pick? Dude, At the Mountains of Madness. Send me to fucking South Pole and let me go insane in the caverns of the fucking old ones, dude. Put me out there. Take me away from this fucking madness. Rats in the walls. Not a big fan of rats in the walls. Haven't really run across anything about the Necrons yet in Warhammer, so I don't really have an opinion. Why don't people like Hook? I watched it for the first time recently. I thought it was pretty good. I don't know. I tried to show it to Amelia, and she was not interested in it either. I don't know. There's a lot of nostalgia attached to it. It came out when I was a kid, so maybe that colors my perception of it. But it doesn't seem to really float with a lot of people, and that's fine. I really like the movie. I think there's a lot of good performances in it, and I think it's colorful and fun. Have not seen Cruella, will not see Cruella. TJ matches the alignments of all four Chaos Gods. No wonder he defies the Imperium. Well, he'll burn. They always do. That's what I've learned. That's the only thing. I don't know a whole lot about 40K yet. You know what I mean? I just started reading it. I read Eisenhorn Xenos, and I'm about halfway through Eisenhorn Malleus. And I've got Eisenhorn Hereticus on deck. You know, so I don't know all the shit yet. I'm just reading Eisenhorn. And then after Eisenhorn, I'm going to read the Ravenor novels. And then after that, I'll pick something else if I'm still into it. No, he was like all distracted through most of it. And so he tried to default to, oh, this sounds lame. But as I explained more of it to him, he actually was getting into it. You know what I mean? That's just TJ. You could tell, like, me and Scotty were actually enjoying fucking riffing about it and shit and talking about it. And he was jumping in with a, but he was, like, pulling stories for the Flash Fried and shit and, like, half tuned in, pretending he knew. And then, like, when we actually try to nail him down, like, well, what do you think about it? He's like, I think it sucks. Sounds like Hitler. You know what I mean? It's just, like, literally defaults to Godwin's Law. It's like, whatever, bro. No, dude, that crinkled face is not TJ's what the fuck face. That's TJ's like, I'm looking at Twitter, but I'm not. I'm trying to look like I'm not looking at Twitter. You're reading the facial expression wrong, Ralph. If you look into the orcs of 40K, they're hilariously overpowered. Sure, they should be. TJ's what the fuck face is a laughing face, because if TJ's genuinely that nonplussed by something, he usually finds it really hilarious no matter what the context. So TJ will give that kind of exasperated laugh when he's actually what the fucking. about your logic stuff. Atheism is so much chiller in general since the 2000s. There's none of the animus-driven intellectual pile driving in it anymore. What do you think initiated that zeitgeist? You're welcome. It was literally what we called back then the Great Debate, which wasn't just on YouTube. It was like, it was all over the fucking place, right? The Great Debate community is what made that a reality. You're welcome. Like, we went out on the front lines at a time when Christian people were super invasive in the public space when it came to pushing their religion, super judgmental, super fucking like open with their stupid arguments, and people like me and TJ and Fake Sagan and Do Not God and all these dorks came along and stood up to these people and dismantled their stupid arguments, and now they don't use them on you anymore. That's why religion is so much more chill now. Because from the gutter with TJ and me and everybody else on YouTube to the highest seats, you know, with like the fucking Four Horsemen and shit, Dawkins and Hitchens and all that shit, every fucking one of the stupid arguments that religious people use to justify their belief was fully dismantled in every possible way that you could think of, to the point where they know that they can't use them anymore. There are so many different ways and so many different people out there that have dismantled those arguments, and so many different like tones, and they can't even use them. They know as soon as somebody searches them, there's going to be 50 fucking people pointing out all the different ways that it's illogical or a paradox or whatever, right? We also won the battle, and this is another thing you can thank me for. We won the battle because we knew their Bible better than they did. Atheists back in 2007, 8, 9 were reading the Bible. I know I was. I knew that fucking Bible cover to cover, and I knew how to reference it, and I knew how to look shit up, and I knew how to find logical holes in it, because they wanted to throw that shit at you like an argument. And just telling them over and over that the Bible cannot be an argument for its own existence, that doesn't work. So I dove into that shit. I read that shit cover to cover as a kid. I read it again when I was like 24 years old. So I knew that Bible. And now you don't have to. Now your generation can completely ignore the fucking Bible because you don't need to know it. Because you can easily search up one of my dismantlings of the fucking cosmological argument, or one of TJ's, or one of Hitchens, or one of Dawkins, or any number of fucking 100,000 other people that did it. So there you go. You're welcome. That's why religion is so chill now. Because back when they weren't chill, back in the early 2000s, when they were actively out there recruiting and trying to get people to fucking come over to their side and using these dumb arguments to try and make atheists look like demon worshipers and devil worshipers and lost souls, and telling kids they were going to hell and all this bullshit, and being all fucking like, you know, brash and over the top about it, there were people to fucking combat that with even more brashness. We were willing to go even more over the top with it. And we pointed out to an entire nation of people the stupidity of these basic arguments, and now you don't hear them in the mainstream anymore. Now you see religious people just keeping quiet about their religion, which is exactly what they should do according to their Bible. People that pray loudly where everyone else can hear are putting on a performance. You're supposed to pray in your closet quietly. You're not supposed to wear your Christianity on your fucking sleeve, bro. Else you're not following the Bible. So we actually helped Christians be better Christians. Now they keep their mouths shut. They don't poke their fucking noses where it doesn't belong. You know, when it does pop up, there's a billion people waiting to dogpile it because we put the arguments out there. That's just the truth, bro. Back in the 2000s, the early 2000s, fucking religion was on the rise. It was on the march. infiltrating the government, infiltrating the public discourse, taking over the airwaves. It was crazy. Anti-gay legislation. California, back in fucking 2007, passed what was it, Prop 16? Yeah. Dude, you're talking about a time when religion and religiosity was on the rise. And a whole bunch of people stepped up to the plate and were like, nope. Not only did we provide counter arguments, but we provided a broad example of atheistic people who were just fine, successful in their own ways, working, charismatic, doing this, doing that, had a good channel, had an interesting take on this, and you know what I mean? They got to see atheists as a whole broad swath of people and not just this like coven. And it made people who were already, leaning that way feel way more comfortable exploring it. And it led to a rise in people calling themselves atheists in this country and an overall fall in religiosity. You are welcome. But realize that religion has a way of coming back around again. Not anymore. Not really. I used to get conversion comments all the time. Dude, now it's ultra rare. Every once in a blue moon, I'll get some weird Christian or Muslim argument where, in my DMs or whatever, where it's just like them trying to fucking bring me to the light or whatever. But that is so rare now. It used to be like every day, twice a day, I'd get it. So I'm just letting you know, like, you guys enjoy a time right now where religiosity is not super duper fucking at the forefront of everything. But so did I when I was a teenager. It was called the 90s. And nobody fucking gave a fuck about religion in the 90s. Religious people were kind of seen as Jesus freaks and weirdos, and like kind of agnosticism and religious non-participation were at an all-time fucking high amongst the youth. And then the 2000s happened. So keep your fucking powder dry. You know what I mean? This idea that you're like, you can like go like this. I'm just telling you, dude. I'm already starting to see signs of this religiosity coming back. The alt-right was all kind of like religious adjacent. You guys think that's nothing? You think as people get more and more desperate, as the political situation crumbles and all these other things start to get worse, you don't think religion's going to be there to scoop up the weak-minded again? That's what they're best at. So, I already served on the front lines once. I ain't doing it again, so it's going to be up to you guys, man. You youngsters are going to have to go out there and carry that fucking torch again, because I ain't doing it. I literally cannot have a Pascal's wager argument with another fucking adult human being ever again. I'm sorry, but I have fucking PTSD from the Great Debate Wars, dude. I cannot even tell you how many times in public and in private I have dealt with Pascal's wager. And I can't do it again, dude. And it's going to be back. Pascal's wager is going to be back, bro. All the other fucking stupid arguments, the cosmological argument, it's going to be back, bro. Yep. All the fucking anti-science shit. I mean, you're already seeing a rise in that, right? This fucking stupid-ass anti-vax shit. This stupid-ass conspiracy shit. Like, what do you think that's about? Dude, that's the fucking magical thinking, religious mindset coming back again. The God of the Gaps is definitely the most common one, and I think, therefore, the most stupid argument for God that you'll get. And it's literally the most common one. Every Christian will use some form of the God of the Gaps, in addition to sometimes just the God of the Gaps, but I'll explain God of the Gaps. So, for those of you that didn't follow it back in the day, the God of the Gaps just finds something that science hasn't explained and goes, therefore God. That's basically it. So anything that science doesn't have a full explanation of, whether it's fucking time or matter or space travel or the beginning of the universe, anything science can't definitively prove without a shadow of a doubt, and the burden of proof, by the way, in the mind of a Christian is ridiculous. You would have to go back in a time machine and observe the Big Bang in order to justify it, right, in the mind of a Christian. So the standard of evidence that they put on it is ridiculous, but the evidence isn't the point. The point is undermining science as something that's flimsy. That's what the God of the Gaps is about. And it's infinite, and there's always going to be gaps. And when one gets filled in, none of the fucking God of the Gaps people even ever talking about again. It never comes up again, just they move on to another one. There will always be gaps in human knowledge. There will always be gaps in science's ability to explain natural phenomena. And as long as that's the truth, which in my mind will always be the truth, there will be people who try and exploit those gaps from a theistic perspective. Right, the blind watchmaker argument, right? The look at the complexity, the argument from irreducible complexity. That's another huge one. These are like the argument from irreducible complexity is one that like the Christians that are trying to portray themselves as smarter will bring at you. They'll be like, ah, yes, but look at the eye. So if everything is built upon a building block, then how did the eye even become the eye? Because it's a very, involved structure. And so what before the eye was the eye, how was it even useful? And they'll act like there's absolutely no way, which if you have even the fucking barest understanding of evolutionary theory, you understand how to counter this. One of my favorite ways to counter this is Dawkins's old Mount Improbable analogy, which I don't even think he made up. So Mount Improbable is this huge, giant mountain of evidence, right? And you look at it and you look at the totality of biology on this planet and you go like, holy fuck. Like how do I get from A to B and have a theory about any of this? Well, you go around back of the mountain and there's a little winding path and it takes you a long time, but slowly but surely you wind your way up the path. This is evolution, right? So instead of looking at it like, oh my God, look at all this shit, where did it all come from? It wasn't like that. It was a winding path that cut its way back and forth and back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. Each generation of individuals and species building upon the last over fucking billions of years. So anyway, that's that. I just gotta let you guys know that shit is all fucking gonna be coming back, 100%. And you guys are gonna have to know how to counter it because I won't do it again. You hope it doesn't come back. You can hope in one hand, shit in the other, and see which one fills up first. It's coming back. It's already coming back. Magical thinking is already on the precipice. Religiosity is going to go on the rise as soon as suffering goes up in this country, and we're on the precipice of a lot of suffering. Dude, that's where religion thrives. Weak-minded people look for easy answers during hard times. They look for easy comfort during hard times, and it's going to happen, and it's going to happen, and it's going to happen again. Dude, I was going through my HBO Max thing today. I was flipping through to looking for something to watch. And I saw these collections, and one of the collections, it said horoscopes. And I was like, what? movies about, I thought it was going to be like movies that involve like horoscopes and stuff. And I went there and no, it's literally like every horoscope and which movies you should watch if you're that. And I was like, you got to be joking, right? And you know it wouldn't be there if people didn't use it. If you've got HBO Max, go fucking look at it. It's right there. Look at their collections or whatever. It's right there. Horoscopes. And you go in there and you click it, and it's got like Cancer, Taurus, Pisces, Gemini, and it's got like a list of 10 movies that are just specifically for you. If you're in Aries, these are the movies you should watch. And it's like, what? Oh, and you know people are going in there and going, oh yeah, that's right. This one does look good. Oh, I'm so glad. Oh man, I did enjoy that movie. Confirmation bias, confirmation bias, confirmation bias, confirmation bias, confirmation bias. Confirmation bias. People look for higher meaning in a world that's controlled and arbitrated over by people that make them feel insignificant. That's my take on why people are attracted to ideology, religion. Wrong. Wrong on that one. Religion predates tyranny. Religion predates it. There's just no way. In fact, religion was probably the first institution that exhibited tyranny. So, gonna have to say big no on that one. You want to really know where religion comes from? I'll tell you where religion comes from. If you want to really know, I'll tell you. It's not all that interesting, but it's the truth. Religion comes from the fact that we are animals which have developed through the process of evolution by natural selection this thing that we call consciousness. Now, we can't even define that consciousness. You won't find a scientific description of consciousness that will alleviate you of any of the wonder that you have about the term. We can't really fathom it ourselves, let alone explain it. Many philosophers have tried to explain consciousness, but almost all of them admit that from within it, it's hard to examine. So we have this brain that is set against itself. One part of the brain that looks for patterns, right? And another part of the brain that is supposed to interpret those patterns that has developed wildly out of control and now finds patterns in other things where it shouldn't, right? So this is what religion is. This is human beings looking at things, and instead of looking at it like a wolf does, a wolf doesn't look up at the moon and ponder why it's there and wonder what the portent of the moon is. The wolf just uses the moonlight in order to aid it in its hunt. The wolf is driven by the moon instinctually, but the wolf doesn't ponder the goddamn fucking moon. Human beings, with our overdeveloped consciousness, ponder the fucking moon. And when there's absolutely no basis for knowledge for us to pull anything like the truth out of the air about the moon, what are we going to do? We're going to come up with some crazy idea about what that fucking moon is or means. That's the basis of religion. It's literally our pattern-seeking mechanism gone haywire. Because of our consciousness. Because of our consciousness, a layer of understanding or a layer of portent was added to our pattern seeking. And it made us see faces, and it made us hear voices, and it made us see signs and things that were normally mundane and find Jesus on our burnt toast and all this bullshit. So there you go. Mystery solved. That's where fucking religion came from. Now you can quit wondering. You know what I mean? It's not, it's pretty basic. I mean, you can follow the chain of logic, right? Think about it, all right? Our ancestors that had our proto-logic look up at the moon, and instead of looking at it like a wolf or a badger or a fucking bat, right? They look at it like a hominid, like an early cousin of humanity. And they see it, and someone says it's an eye. And another individual in the fucking, tribe intones like an eye of what? You know what I mean? Whether it's in spoken language or just kind of the kind of proto-communication. Right? We're reading now pattern. We're looking at a similarity between the moon and the iris of a human eye or a humanoid eye and making a connection. Well, if we have that and look it's up there, that means that some big thing is up there. Now our pattern-seeking brain has made a conclusion that doesn't serve us in the hunt at all because it's gone haywire, because we're asking existential questions instead of functional questions. Right? A wolf doesn't go like, what the fuck is the moon? A wolf goes, what do I need to do to catch that fucking rabbit I can smell? Right? I'm going to use the moonlight to track this little motherfucker from bush to bush to bush to bush. I'm going to use my fucking pack to flush it out, and I'm going to make the kill. Human looks up at the moon and goes like, they might think some of the same things, right? Like a tribe, hunter-gatherer type early human. They might think the same thing. They might have some of the same instinct. In fact, I guarantee you they did. Yes, the moonlight will afford us a little better vision at night. We can get some hunting done tonight, maybe catch some of these bigger animals that are easier to sneak up on at night, etc., etc. But also, what the fuck is that up there looking at us? Well, you're going deeper than I'm going, Unholy Messiah. You're right and you're wrong, right? The whole inability to accept that there's nothing after death and that you're gone forever comes from the very self-same existential questioning that I'm talking about here, right? Animals don't ask that of themselves. They're driven by instinct to survive, but there's nothing beyond that for them. There's nothing beyond that survival for them. For human beings, there's a whole bunch of portent to the survival because we understand, as most or maybe all animals don't, that we're finite, that we end one day. This is another thing. It's just another moon. I used the moon as an example, right? This is just another moon. It's an inability for us to fucking understand something because we just don't have the knowledge yet. Now, nobody's functionally, I mean, maybe some people do, but really, we understand what the fucking moon is now. We know it's a planetary body. We know it, fucking orbits the Earth. It's fucking tidally locked. We know it exists. We know what its function is. We know what its effect on the Earth is. We scientifically can explain its existence. We know it's not a giant winking eyeball. We know it's not the chariot of Horus, riding across the night sky to presage the coming of the chariot of Ra, the sun god. Right? We know what it is. But there's still a ton of shit we don't know what it is. Like, we still haven't solved what happens to us after death. Now, science will tell you that the biological machinery that is your body shuts down. There's no more electrical impulse. Therefore, you cease to exist. But they can't prove it, right? There's a gap there in our knowledge because nobody can go across the other side, die for a week, and then come back and be like, holy fuck, man, it's nothing. There's no way for us to test that shit scientifically or otherwise or ethically. And so it's this big question mark in people's minds, some people's minds still. And in that fucking gap of confusion is fertile ground for all kinds of nonsense and bullshit. Just like the moon, just like death. And so that's where religion comes from, guys. The human inability to process existential questions and find logical answers to them. That's the ground, the fertile ground in which religion exists. We're the only fucking species that displays it, and that's why. Because the part of our brain that interprets patterns developed into something that it wasn't meant to. Consciousness. Religion started as an early form of advanced government. I've believed that for a long time. I mean, maybe. It was likely the first actual power structure on the planet that would have been called a structure other than just brute tribalism, right? So strongest caveman lead. That was probably the paradigm for a very long time in human history and pre-human history. But once this religion idea started to come in, that power dynamic likely shifted, and very quickly, towards the priests and the clergy, or whatever passed for those, the shaman, the interpreter, the old woman who read the bones, the old man with the, epileptic fits that are, messages from God, right? You see what I mean? So I can kind of agree with that. I doubt that religion started with mass agriculture. Now, mass religion started with mass agriculture, and holy war certainly as an idea started, or at the very least was given real life in human affairs by mass agriculture, along with 1,000 other poisonous ills that we've gone over here. But I firmly believe that religion has its roots far earlier than agriculture does. Mass agriculture, in the way that I'm defining it, has been around, like 20,000 years? Something like that. Human beings have been around 200,000 years, give or take 100,000 years. So it's like, let's do the math here. No, religion didn't just pop out of fucking nowhere. It started probably before human beings. I would imagine that our most distant, closest cousins, the Neanderthals, right, had their own form of proto-shamanic type of religion. In fact, there have been, fucking cave explorations and stuff that have turned up totems and artifacts and things that could be interpreted as religious. So it's just like, you know what I mean? This whole idea of filling in the gaps in our knowledge with supernatural shit is a byproduct of our conscious minds, and it's been around as long as we've been around, and it's going to be around as long as we're around. I mean, there's never going to be a time where we chase that out of human beings. How's it going, baby? I'm doing okay. Just chilling out here. It finally, cooled down a little bit. Mm-hmm.
That doesn't sound like a safe and sane.
It isn't. Anything that starts with that very pronounced thump,
yeah,
that's it being launched. And if it launches, it ain't safe and sane. Many who participate in religion today are actually desperate for any kind of community to belong to. That's absolutely one of the ways that religion pulls people in. And there is, now I'm not real qualified to talk about this, but I will say that I believe that there is an epidemic of loneliness going on right now, which doesn't seem like it should be happening. The world is ever more interconnected than it's ever been. But I think it has led people to pursue more and more parasocial activity and less actual social activity. And so I believe that there is a genuine, honest to goodness epidemic of loneliness and lonesomeness in this world. And that is another reason why you guys have got to keep your eyes on this whole fucking religion shit. Like, it seems like old hat now, but it's coming back around. Desperation is, man, fucking religion eats it up. Because desperate people are willing to believe almost anything for just a little bit of even base psychological relief. You know what I mean? Especially in really tough times. That's why religiosity spiked right after 9/11. And why people like me and TJ and Brett Keane and fucking all the early atheists and fucking Dawkins and Hitchens and Daniel Dennett and all these guys, all these people had to come out and fight religion again. Because it was on the rise in government. It was on the rise in public discourse. It was on the rise in media. Its acceptability was on the rise, and there was more and more brash. More and more people were coming out and not just being like, hey, I'm a Christian. They were being like, hey, you're fucking wrong if you're not a Christian. And here's why. You're going to hell if you're a fucking Jew. You're going to hell if you're a fucking atheist. You're going to hell if you're a fucking Muslim. You're going to hell, hell, hell. They were getting all fucking fire and brimstone, and we had to come and put the fire out. And now we're enjoying that time because, like people were saying earlier, dude, religion has chilled the fuck out. But it's because of that. It's because it got huge pushback in the Western world. And now look what's happening. Desperation, all this weird weather shit, the storms, the economic uncertainty, the coming migrant crisis. People are going to be desperate and hungry and weirded out and freaked out and insecure. And you couple that with an education system that's churning out functional illiterates, and I'm not trying to fucking dunk on people for not being able to read. I'm just being honest.
Like, most people in this country probably have 8th grade reading level.
If that. So it's like, you churn that out. You haven't created a critical thinker. What do you think they're going to do? Do you think they're just going to be fucking good little science believers? They're going to be religious. They're going to fall into this new agey fucking Christian shit, because Christianity is especially good at this. Putting on a new face for a new generation, man. In the fucking 90s, when Christianity wasn't cool, it was hip-hop Christianity, man. Jesus is my homeboy. Jesus. You know what I mean? That shit. They know how to creep in just enough to get past people's fucking filters and look presentable and look like a community. Like, look, dude, I know you've probably heard things about Christianity, but let me just tell you, it's not against gays. That stuff is whack, yo. That's the truth of the matter is, Jesus loved everybody, as it says here in Luke 17, chapter 21. And so did Jesus love every man, woman, and child on the earth that he gave him, whatever, you know, they just quote the Bible at you. And that isn't going to sell with everybody, but it's going to sell generationally with enough people who are going to raise their kids into it that you guys are going to be facing it again.
Because this past year, like, almost every kid was homeschooled, basically.
What do you think that is? Homeschool with their boomer-ass fucking parents who are stupid as fuck. You just don't understand, man. Islam is on the rise, too. Yes. Has been for a long time. This idea that the whole idea that religiosity, we're all just enjoying the breather that came with the huge pushback that religiosity got in the early 2000s. You think that's not going to be necessary again? Wrong. They're not even in the basement regrouping. They're doing it out in public. Look at all these fucking insurrections they led in these churches and these fucking get-togethers in public, defying mask orders and spreading COVID around like wildfire. These motherfuckers are out there. I saw the videos of these, and they weren't all old codgers in there. It wasn't like your grandma and grandpa. There were like fucking 20-somethings in that crowd, all clean cut, Jesus loves me shirts on, no mask, out fucking... Guys, you need to understand. They're not even fucking in the... They didn't go away. They just shifted tactics for a while. They went back to the drawing board. They knew they lost this generation. They're coming back for the Zoomers and Generation Alpha. And they're going to get them in large, huge groups. Because there's going to be a lot of uncertainty, economic and otherwise, in this fucking country in that time. Their lives are going to be marked by it. Couple that with the fucking inherent sense of loneliness that's draped over the fucking populace. Deaths of despair on the rise everywhere in the fucking Western world. The time is ripe. Religion is coming. That sense of purpose, that sense of community, that sense of belonging, and overall that sense that everything is going to be okay in the end as long as you do X, Y, and Z. People will fucking die for that shit. It's been proven over and over again, that sense of fucking comfort. So you think I'm fucking talking shit, or you think you're just dealing with some weirdos and some nobodies, you better fucking, you got another thing coming. The Zoomers on TikTok are like people on fucking Twitter. You need to understand some shit. We had a great analogy, and I'm going to use it again right now. When we were covering fucking Louis C.K.'s comeback, he sold out his first show, and there was one person that stood up in the middle of the show and left and got offended. And I don't remember which one of us it was, but we said, that's Twitter. That one person out of the fucking 300 in the room, that's Twitter. Right? So Twitter is covered on the news like it's this broad swath of society, but it's really just about 1 in 300 people.
I mean, even if you look at Twitter, it's like pretty much every single day sports is like dominating all the trending shit, not politics, not...
Right. And for every kid that's on TikTok, there's probably 25 kids whose parents don't let them on TikTok. What do you think they're learning? You can't look at fucking TikTok and go like, Zoomers are secular AF. Bruh. The Zoomers that are on TikTok are secular AF. The people on Twitter are left AF. The world, not so goddamn motherfucking much. You need to understand this. People have a fucking weird, overblown sense of what social media means. It's not something that you can take the temperature of an entire populace with. Not yet, at least. It's not ubiquitous. It's still a hobbyist thing. Like I said, it's about 1 in 300 people are active on a fucking social media platform. By active, I mean they make more than one post a month. So actually doing it, actually engaging in social media discourse in some way, shape, or form. It's like 1 in 300 people. That's kids, old people, and everybody in between. That's nobody. It's nothing. So there you go. I would not be fucking so sure that this upcoming generation or the one that follows it is going to be super duper ultra secular. Because you know what happens when kids get older? They rebel against their parents' moral code. This is pure fucking psychology, dude. This is human psychology 101, dude. You'll take it in your first psych class and you'll learn it.
My family is a great example. It's like my dad's parents were super Catholic, but him and his brother and one of his sisters are all atheists. My mom's parents were atheists, and pretty much her and all her siblings became Christians.
See? Same thing. I was raised in a lapsed evangelical home where we barely went to church, barely mentioned religion. I became an atheist. My sister became a super hardcore evangelical, both raised in the same household. So this idea that you can judge which way the wind is blowing religiously, or you need to understand, you can't. You can't look at TikTok and go like, oh yeah, dude, fucking Gen Z is nothing but a bunch of fucking genderqueer atheists. It's like, all right, wait till they grow up. Wait until they're 20 or 30, because they're going to rebel against the sensibilities that their parents instilled in them. It always happens. It happens with every generation. My parents' generation was all about getting a job and settling into a work and buying a little house and getting married and making the babies. That was it. And that was your life. Boom. You went to school, you went to college, you got a job, you got a girlfriend, you got a wife, you got a baby, you got a house, and then you're a person. That was everything that mattered to my parents. Because, honestly, they were denied that in their childhood. So that was very important to them. We were raised in it and took it for granted. And Gen X and the millennial generation rebelled against that idea of traditional work and started this new wave of entrepreneurship and the gig economy, for good or ill. This idea of not looking at a job as something that's like you're proud of being at, but something that sustains you. That's more how Gen X and fucking early millennials look at things. And that's a total rebellion against what our parents instilled in us. Our parents told us that everything was getting a job. Everything was having a baby. Everything was having a house that you owned and a car that you owned and working a shift job and getting up early every morning and going to bed late every night and working your fucking fingers to the bone and then drinking beer on the weekends and raising your kids. That's what it was. That's what my fucking parents' generation instilled in the fucking Gen X and instilled in millennials. My parents are literal boomers. It was like, yeah, go to college. But the whole point of go to college was not go to college. It was go to college so you get a good job, so you get a good house, so you get a good wife, so you get a good kid. And we rebelled against that as a generation. Not only was college becoming largely out of our reach financially, but all the shit that's happening now with college was already happening back when I was a fucking college kid. Degrees being useless, tales of people graduating with these esoteric degrees and not being able to get a job and working at a fucking factory or at a fucking Starbucks or whatever the fuck. That shit was happening. People were going into oceans of debt. Where do you think the student debt crisis started? My generation. I'm lucky, dude. I dodged that shit. People went into oceans of debt in pursuit of failed college endeavors. Oceans.
Yeah, I think like maybe at least 40% of people just don't finish at all. So they go into debt for nothing.
I was lucky. My first 2 abortive attempts were under a full ride scholarship. So I wasn't out of pocket a dime. And the last 3 abortive attempts that I made going back to community college were all on my own dime and my own time. I paid up front for my classes, paid for my books, and I walked into them. Because I had a job that at the time could support me. Now, you don't even got that. So what do you think that lack of access to education is going to lead to? Zoomers being the smartest, most well-informed, least religious generation? Pardon me if I'm skeptical about that. My brother has a lot of college debt and doesn't believe in free college or debt forgiveness. Well, he's I bet if debt forgiveness happened, he wouldn't go like, no, I will stay in debt. I bet he'd take it, wouldn't he? See, people love that shit. He'd be for it as soon as it happened for him. He just doesn't want other people's debt to be canceled. But if somebody came along and was like, you know what, you're a hard-working white guy. We're going to take care of your debt. He'd be like, well, thank you, sir. He just doesn't want everybody else getting it. And that's the way it is. It's selfishness that drives that kind of self-defeating shit.
Or that dude refinance privately to where he can't get his debts excused.
Whatever the fucking case is. Dude has an axe to grind, and that's obvious. And if somebody came along and wiped out his debt, he wouldn't fucking blink an eye negatively about it. He'd probably throw a big-ass party. But you talk about everybody else's debt getting forgiven, too, and, oh, no, I don't have to pay for that shit. Internet is making people dumber, people stuck in meaningless dopamine loops. I mean, we've talked about that before. And I know, here's the problem with some of that shit. It comes off as preachy to young people when I tell them that their fucking phone shit is weird. But I have to tell you guys, this way that, and I live that way now too. I'm in it too. I'm on this phone all fucking day doing something or another. I fall asleep to it at night. I wake up and check it in the goddamn morning to make sure I didn't miss any messages. I stream on it all fucking day. You know what I mean? So we're all of us in this fucking generation and the generation surrounding it fucking transfixed by this new technology. And we have no idea what the consequences of that are going to be. I don't want to, dude, I will not name names, but I knew someone who lost their phone once. This is a person that was on their phone all the fucking time. Right? Every hour, every day that they could be on their phone, they're on their phone. They lost their phone. And to me, I've lost my phone or had my phone break or whatever and had to be without it for a couple of days. To me, it's like a blessing. See, I'm into it, but if it disappeared tomorrow, I'd be like, whew. Nobody has cell phones anymore. Yay. Dude, I watched this person act like a fucking literal addict. Show addictive behavior, like literally like unable to fucking sleep, unable to fucking fill their time, unable to fucking feel normal, unable to go places and feel normal, just riddled with anxiety. And it was all because they didn't have their phone. So here, without trying to sound preachy or whatever, something's going on here. Quit saying TJ in the chat. If it was TJ, I would just say TJ, all right? So without sounding boomerish, something's happening here. And what it is ain't exactly clear. Not yet. But can we talk about it here? Maybe not tonight, but just as a fucking generation, can we all get together and go like, maybe what is this doing to us? What does it mean that we're just spending hours a day scrolling, dopamine looping on various fucking social media websites and getting this fucking hit that really doesn't mean anything, but it's like, just, you know, it fills the time in between other fucking distractions, right? What do you think that is? Like, what do you think that means? I'm not even indicting anybody that I'm not... dude, if I'm pointing the finger at you, I'm pointing it right back at myself. But what do you think that means for us as a species? That we've gone from people that lived out here. When I say out here, you know, I'm just gesturing out here at the world behind me and around me and the house in front of me and the wife sitting next to me, and now we live here. Now we spend more time living here than we spend time out here. And that means meeting people, and that means interacting with our neighbors, and that means getting to know people, and that means fucking being active in any kind of fucking way. And I'd like, once again, if you feel like the finger's being pointed at you, know that it's pointed right back at me too. I'm fucking criticizing myself here, and it's not even really a criticism, it's a question. What does that mean? What does it mean? That we're all inside, or when we're not inside, we're on our phones, and we're out, and we're together, but we're not really together because everybody's on their phone. And when you're at a fucking a fucking like concert, 90% of the audience isn't even watching the concert. They're watching the concert through their phone as they record it or live stream it. What does this mean about how we as animals interact with the outside world and one another? What does it mean for our society going forward and our priorities as people? What does it mean in terms of our ability to be manipulated through this technology, which I think everybody knows is happening, right? You're not going to call me an Alex Jones guy for saying that that's happening, right? We're all aware that there's some pernicious fucking advertising going on and that it's all integrated into your phone OS and it's all part of these social media platforms, right? None of us is there, right? I'm going to go get something to drink while you think about it. You want something to drink, baby?
No, I'm okay.
Only if you're a good boy, though. No growling, no barking, and no fox chasing.
You gotta be a good boy.
I don't want to see any growling. I don't want to see any barking. And no fox chasing. Strictly prohibited. You are strictly prohibited from chasing a fox. Yeah? Okay. Have you gotten a Dinoaur'e wink before? You have to have gotten at least.
I think I have, yeah.
It's the weirdest shit.
Yeah.
Isn't it? It feels so weird. I know he's probably not doing it on purpose, but Dinoaur'e has these big expressive eyes, right? You guys have seen them, but to see them in person, when he's looking at you, it's like piercing. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? You feel those eyes on you. And it's like every once in a fucking blue moon, I'll be talking to Dinoaur'e and he'll be looking at me with those eyes, that piercing gaze. And he'll go like, and I'm like, what was that? Did you just wink at me? And he'll just wag his tail and go on about his business. I'm like, dogs aren't supposed to do that. Dropping hints of sentience.
I'm pretty sure just because his eyes are all fucking watery and shit. And
He just got big old weird giant bug kind of pseudo Shih Tzu eyes and a little bit of Chihuahua eye too. Both bug-eyed breeds, so he's got a little bit of the bug eye, you know. Sneaks out at night to play poker with the other dogs. Yeah, I think so too. Anyway, sorry, I got on a fucking Dinoaur'e tangent. We were talking about dopamine loops, phones, online behavior, this idea of touch grass being a thing that people are like advising other people to do now. It's like go outside, do something offline. It's a super interesting topic. I think it chases some younger people away because they feel like indicted by it. And I'm really, you guys, I didn't put dude, you guys didn't invent this shit. And you didn't put the phone in your hand for the first time, probably. You know what I mean? So I'm not blaming you for what's going on. I'm just worried, genuinely, about what it means for people's inner lives and what it means for our outer lives to be so lost in this technology and this fake universe that is social media, which is exactly what it is. It's a big LARP. Super broad topic, because it really touches everything that we do these days. There's nothing that isn't touched by it. It's changed films. Movies can't be made the same way anymore. You know, we've watched a lot of these old movies and we're, you know, at the end, you know, we'll be lost in the movie, but at the end we'll go like, dude, a cell phone would have solved this. You know what I mean? How many old movies are that way?
And like there's times where like I'll find myself not being able to focus. Like I'll see someone, it's like, oh, I gotta figure out who that is right now.
Right. And you grab your phone and you do it. You know, so you have that ability to get that dopamine hit of get it like, oh, I can't remember what this is, or I want to know this little factoid, and boom, it's right there at your fingertips. 20 seconds away, there it is. Maybe even less. You're quick. So you're just like, you know, but that's just the truth. And I'm the same way. I've got, like, back when I was a kid, we used to get in these yes, huh fights because that's what shit would devolve to. Because, like, in order to actually prove a shit, you had to go get Merriam-Webster's, or you had to go get like the fucking Encyclopedia Britannica and check out the G volume to prove a thing to a motherfucker. You couldn't just pull all human knowledge out of your fucking pocket and answer every goddamn question in the universe. You know what I mean? And how has that changed us? How has that changed us being an inquisitive species? Are we inquisitive anymore? Now that we can just... Yeah, dude, whip out your fucking pocket dictionary or go to the fucking library and check out the G volume of Encyclopedia Britannica and find Georgia and prove that it's not just a state, but it's also a country. You know what I mean? And then make a photocopy of that shit at the library and take it to school the next day and go, ha ha, motherfucker, look. Georgia, state, Georgia, Eastern European country. Eat a dick, bitch. But you had to go... You had to go through that. You couldn't just pull your phone out and go like, you're stupid, bro. Look, Georgia. There's the flag of Georgia. Now, quit being stupid. Let me go to Wikipedia real quick. Or even better, hey, Siri, where is Georgia, the country? Georgia, the country, is in Eastern Europe. Thank you, Siri. What's that done? Dude, I legit had somebody ask me one time. Now, okay, that was just a shotgun.
Sounded closer than it usually is.
So that wasn't even a firework. That was just a straight out shotgun. Gotta love that shit. That was a 12 gauge. Someone's hunting the vixen. Dude, I hope they didn't get the fox. No, we're fine, dude. I live out in the fucking middle of nowhere. People are going to be out here fucking hee-hawing and shooting off fireworks and firing their fucking shotguns and shit.
It's going to be unbearable if you stream on the 4th.
Dude, the 4th of July is going to be a fucking nightmare over here, bro.
Because we're just out far away enough that people don't think about cops.
Dude, there's going to be fucking guns being fired off. We're going to hear whole 9mm clips fired into the air. Rack, 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 rack. And we'll hear a ton of that bullshit too. Shotguns being fired off. Happens on fucking New Year's Eve too. Oh my god, it's like a cacophony. Shot number 2.
Alright, you scared D? I'll go in.
D don't like it.
I'll put you safe inside.
Those ain't fireworks. That's just 2 straight out shotguns.
I know they're the people that you wish were just stuck to their phones.
Yeah, seriously. What do you think is the root cause of homophobia and transphobia? Those things are learned, and that's just proven. Human history shows it. Like so many other sources of bigotry, transphobia and biphobia and gay phobia and all this homophobia shit, it's all taught. 100%. If children are raised in a society where homophobia is normalized, they grow up and they're adults for whom homosexuality is normalized. That's just the way it is. There have been documented human societies, pre-civilizational human societies, in which trans people not only were recognized as equals amongst the tribe, but had their own designation amongst the tribe, their own set of fucking duties amongst the tribe, etc. And so this shit is 100% taught. And it's all connected back to that religious shit that we talked about earlier. Paul, why are a lot of gay people effeminate? Well, okay, so let's think about this shit. So if we understand that gender is not a binary, right? Gender is not an on switch or an off switch, but rather a sliding scale. Then we understand that some people are going to have a different expression of gender based on where they land on that scale. So if a gay man, for example, presents himself as very effeminate, you could intone, not necessarily, but that on the scale of gender, that he is a little closer to the feminine side of things than the masculine side of things than your average gentleman may be, and may feel more comfortable acting in a more feminine way, presenting in a more feminine way. And then if you go farther down that scale of gender expression, you end up with a non-binary person or a trans person, right? A person who not only doesn't necessarily conform to the traditional idea of male-female gender expression, but literally feels that they are the opposite of their sex. Their sexual characteristics do not match what they are, right? So this is what we're talking about. It's all a sliding scale. Homosexuality lies on the same scale that transsexuality does. They're absolutely and fundamentally connected. Like, the fact that homosexuality exists is 100% proof that what we're talking about is the truth, that gender is not 2 points on a map. It's a broad swath of a scale that can encompass any number of different types of expression. From, ultimate hard stoic masculinity to ultimate femininity and everything in between, right? And what's dangling between your legs at birth, or what the configuration of that is, really doesn't have a bearing on that expression at all, as is clear. Paul, I love you. I'm the silent minority here in this stream. Always watching, never talking. Cue it up, big guy. All right, buddy. You got it. Thank you very much for that. I'm doing okay. I'm surviving, yo. I'm out here with somebody that's probably 100 feet from me, blowing off a fucking 12 gauge every 5 minutes. We're fine. Racking the gauge. I grew up around guns, so I don't get skittish around that shit, but it is pretty fucking dumb to be firing a gun in the middle of the night in the neighborhood, but whatever. I'm not going to skitter inside my home. I don't even jump when I hear them. You know what I mean? I'm not a single cold take Kathy in the chat tonight. That is true. We do a pretty good chat tonight. A lot of good questions tonight. Paul, have you heard the majority of Europe will be Muslim by 2050, some countries by 2040 or 2030 because Muslims have many... Yeah, I've heard. This is what we call demographic drift. This is absolutely normal. This has happened a billion times throughout the course of human history. And I really don't see a way to stop it that doesn't include genocide and mass war, so I would just get used to the fucking idea. I mean, at this point, I would say yes. Like, see, this is one of those things where it just, you get into so many different fucking layers of moral consideration that it's hard to go like, yes, a Christian Europe is better objectively than a Muslim Europe because reasons, right? Because any reason that you give might be undermined by a different moral consideration. I mean, a Christian Europe has been responsible for more atrocity, more colonialism, more murder and slavery than any other fucking thing in the world. So it's just like, you know what I mean? If we take the aggregate of what a Christian Europe has exported to the fucking planet in terms of misery and degradation and violence and colonialism and then all the nastiness that comes with that and racism, I mean, fucking A, bro. It's kind of hard for me to stare that in the face and go like, well, let's not give the Muslims a chance. I really give a fuck, bro. The same thing is happening here in California and in the United States at large. It's a different kind of demographic shift, but the same kind of fear-based, fear-mongering, scared white folk kind of mentality is happening here, and it's the demographic shift towards Hispanic. This is just happening as a natural function of the United States sharing a fucking border with Mexico, Central America, and South America. We're connected by a fucking land directly straight to all these fucking countries, and we're a very prosperous place, and people that are Hispanic tend to be more fertile than people who are not Hispanic, and culturally they tend to have more children than your average fucking white person does, and so there's a bunch of fearful white people in the United States that think that they're being demographically replaced, that it's white genocide. And really what's happening, guys, what you're seeing, if it's allowed to continue, which it won't be stopped one way or the other, it will continue. You're talking about everybody, 150, 200, maybe 300 years from now being a very similar shade of, 3 cream, 2 sugar mocha. That's really what it means. It just means that human beings who developed different levels of melanin in their skin and different fucking external characteristics based on the fucking environment that they lived in now are not constrained to that environment. We invented the boat, we invented the airplane, we invented modern fucking train travel and fucking cars. All of the barriers that used to keep people relatively homogenous have been fucking shattered by our technology. And we expect everybody to remain this homogenous group of different races? Absolutely not. It's happening everywhere, bro. Everywhere you look, you see multiracial couples, now more than ever, because the mix is so great, especially where I grew up. Dude, every one of my cousins is a bare-assed white boy who's married a Hispanic chick and has a bunch of kids who are mixed race. You know what I mean? Like, this is just the way things are going. And you can fight it if you want. You can be fearful of it if you want. I myself am not. I see it as a beautiful thing. I see the exchange of culture and the drift of culture and the drift of demographics and the coming together of humanity and the blending of all of this uniqueness into one kind of thing, I see that as a beautiful process, and I would never fucking stand in the way of it. I don't care what's at stake, really, because I've heard all the arguments against it, bro. What you're assuming is that Muslim people want to move to Europe and turn it into some kind of fucking Iran or some shit. Now, maybe some of them do, but is that the vast majority of Muslim people that move to Europe? Do they want to turn it into a fucking theocracy? Do they want to turn it into some place where people are fucking scared to be if they're not Muslim? I think if you asked around, the answer to that would be no. So what is the fear based in? The extremists? That's like saying I should be afraid of the demographic shift in America towards Hispanic because Hispanic people run the drug cartels. It's like, what kind of fucking guilt by association is this shit? So I don't fight that shit. I don't fear that shit. I never have. I never will. It just seems to be a losing battle to even fucking attempt to maneuver yourself around that shit, or to be afraid of that shit, or to try and fight that shit, because what it leads to is death. It just leads to war and genocide and Nazi type shit. Ethnic fucking cleansing and ethno states, and we already have enough of that shit going on the fucking planet. Let's be real. See, I grew up in a state where something that people in the South fear more than anything was a reality. I grew up in a state where, if there was something posted for public notice, it was in English, and then below it was in Spanish. And you know how much it affected my fucking life? Not one iota. Not one. There wasn't one time where I was like, man, I am impeded by the fact that this sign in front of me is in English and then in Spanish, bro. I can't even fucking tell you how my day is ruined. Never once have I even thought about it other than to talk about it in this type of way. A bilingual society is a good thing. A trilingual society is a good thing. The idea that the United States has to remain this landlocked English-speaking nation for forever and for always is some kind of white boy fantasy. Some kind of fucking like red, white, and blue screaming eagle George Washington riding across the Potomac fucking with his wooden teeth clacking and his big dick swinging fantasy. You know what I mean? That's just not how human beings are. We're a naturally inquisitive species, and our culture loves to share. Culture exists to be shared. It cries out to be shared and experienced and adopted. That's what it is. Most European countries are at a minimum bilingual. Some of them trilingual countries. This is just standard everywhere else in the Western world. But over here in the United States, we can barely speak English here. We're barely teaching how to properly speak the language that we are fucking raised in. Myself included. I speak like the bastard son of a fucking motherless goat.
I got a fucking required language thing to graduate high school, but that language was Latin.
Yeah. Dude, you Like for me, the language thing, I took 2 years of Spanish and 2 years of French, and I can ask where the bathroom is in both those language and do a little bit of the fucking alphabet and do the days of the week, and that's about it.
Yeah, you have to do it like from kindergarten to actually make a difference.
It did nothing for me. I mean, maybe a little something for me. Like I was able to carry on and learn a little bit more French and shit, but I am nowhere even near bilingual in any fucking way, shape, or form. And I spent 2 years learning Spanish and 2 years learning French. So that just goes to show you. I took 12 years of Spanish in school. Well, that's because it's different taking academic language and then speaking it with a fluent language speaker. The best way to learn a language is to move to a fucking country and absorb yourself in it. Because if you're forced to converse with people, you're going to learn how best to speak way quicker than you are sitting in a fucking class like Amelia said in with someone going agricola, agricolarum, agricolae, agricolus, agricolis, agricolae, agricolusis, agricolarum. You know what I mean? It's just like... whatever.
Dude, by the time I took my last year of Latin, there was literally 45 people in my class with 3 different levels of Latin. So we were just thrown to the dogs. Like, you guys just do what you're gonna do. You guys can help each other.
Fucking sick transit Gloria. You hit the fucking bricks. Yeah, no, I know it was bullshit. But like I said, like in America, see, this is a reflection of that. When I tell people that like Amelia and I might consider maybe moving to a South American country one day. Maybe. Right? People go like, well, what you gonna do? Do you speak Spanish? And I have to explain to them, like most other countries, that South American countries are usually at a minimum bilingual. They speak English and something else, or Spanish and Portuguese, or Spanish and French, or you know what I mean? The people that live in these countries, it's just America that has a boner for speaking only English. You know what I mean? And poorly as well. Yeah, and that's not, I wasn't even counting the indigenous languages. So you're talking about some areas where there's probably functional like quadrilinguarity. Australia is another example. Like everywhere is an example. In Germany, if you're an American and you go to fucking Brussels or something, right? Or if you go to fucking Cologne, you're not going to be, nobody's going to look at you with a fucking void on their face if you go like, hey, can I get a coffee? They're not going to be like, je ne sais quoi. Coffee? Je ne sais quoi. Je ne parle anglais. You know, it's not going to happen, right? They're just going to go like, of course. And for you, madame? You know what I mean? Everybody there speaks fucking English. It's really the only developed nation that's like that. The same can be said for Japan and China. People in Japan and China, especially in China now, it's becoming ever more popular. But even within China, there are functionally like 3 different, as I understand it, 3 different main Chinese languages. And most Chinese people speak them all. Like there's Mandarin, and then there's I don't know them, but I'm just saying, like I'm pretty sure there's 2 or 3 main Chinese languages. Everybody in China is fluent in both. And then it's very common for them to be fluent in Japanese or fluent in Korean, you know what I mean, which are very close languages, Cantonese, right. And I mean, that's true of, you know, pretty much everywhere. Yeah, you go into the urban or the rural areas of Germany, you might run into somebody out there that's real bad at English or some shit. But you go to fucking a major city in Germany, that city's at a minimum trilingual. They speak French, they speak German, and they speak English there. Guaranteed. 100%. at a minimum. Probably, a further friendly to other languages. Probably very friendly to like Danish and Swedish and Finnish. So you need to understand, like, America just has, like I said, it has this raging boner for, I only speak American. Like, we hate learning other languages and shit. We don't want it. We don't want other languages to be displayed over here. We don't want to hear no babble from some other goddamn country. Come over here, you speak American. You don't go to the store, grocery, okay? You go to the goddamn grocery store. You don't go to Le Walmart, okay? You go to the goddamn Walmart. You don't say Feliz Navidad, all right? You say Merry motherfucking Christmas. And you don't say Prospero Año y Felicidad neither. You say fucking goddamn Happy New Year. All right? To be fair, we don't really have adjacent countries. You just shut my brain down, bro. Do you know what borders us to the south? Oh, fuck me. Never mind. Never mind. You're right. All we've got is Canada, eh? Dude was a troll? Yeah, I mean, hopefully. He was either a troll or just a straight out American graduate. You know what I mean?
Or he thinks the wall exists and that
Yeah.
people can't just go down to Mexico for vacations like they have for fucking.
Or there isn't like a free and open fucking transfer of people all along that goddamn border constantly. Legally and illegally. In the air, by the land, by the sea. They speak French in Canada. Dude, don't tell nobody that. Nobody needs to hear that shit, bro. Nobody speaks French anywhere. No snarkiness in chat. I mean, you can be snarky. I'm snarky. Just no stupid snarky. You know what I mean? If you're going to be snarky, be smart snarky. Be parky snarky. Don't be dumb snarky. Be smart snarky. We should abolish languages and just have one language. All right. I'm down. Let's do it. Which language is it going to be?
He said English earlier, because of course he did.
Yeah, let's pick the weirdest, most complex, hardest to learn fucking language in the world. Let's do it. I mean, Chinese is maybe a little more complex and a little harder to learn, so why don't we go there? If we're going to pick English, we may as well just bump it up to, ultra hard level, and let's just do Chinese. That's more likely to happen, actually. You're talking about Esperanto? Yeah, I'm aware of Esperanto. Esperanto, the language that was created in hopes of unifying the world into one speakable language that everybody would understand. Yeah, I get it. Del Bito, he smells like a frozen burrito. His breath, it smells like a Cheeto. I kind of miss the moon in the background. I don't know what to tell you. It's not back there tonight. I didn't move anything. It's just not it's not in the same spot. I don't know what to tell you. Nothing I can do about that, player. Put the moon back, yo.
I'm gonna lasso the moon.
Yeah, I'll take care of that.
And that just reminded me, we were watching It's a Wonderful Life, The Lasso in the Moon. Fucking cried like 4 times in that movie.
I know. I know, dude. That movie hit you something fierce. Hit you right in the breadbasket. I've had it happen, dude. I can't judge. Oh yeah, dude. It's a Wonderful Life is real. You know, I could definitely see how that one would make people cry for sure. I myself have never cried at it, but I definitely have missed it up at it. It's definitely a moving film. I don't really cry at movies though. I mean, I have, but it's rare for me to cry. I've at a movie. I'm way more likely to be hit by a song than a movie for sure. Like if I listen to the right song at the right time with the right frame of mind, I can fucking burst into tears. And sometimes it just comes on me too. I remember I was just showing Amelia a song one time. I was showing you Basin Street Blues, and I just played it for you, and I just, by the midway through, I was bawling my fucking eyeballs out, and you were like, "Oh, are you okay? Are you okay?" And I'm like, "No, I'm good." I'm just, that fucking song, just like, it's perfect. It's like I hear it as a person that's like, pitch aware or whatever the fuck. It's just the most perfect piece of music that I've ever heard. It's absolutely just a masterwork, and when it all comes together and blends the way it does and starts swinging real hard, it just makes me cry. It's just beautiful. You can hear all the joy and expression in it. You ever find out what that Finnish girl? I haven't. No, I don't know. I remember her first name. I could get her last name because my mom's got my yearbooks in a box still. But that I don't know. From what I understand, her first name's pretty common in Finland. It's Päivi. So, from what I understand, Päivi is a pretty relatively common name in Finland. That's her first name. I don't remember what her last name is. It's probably something like Salma Kakalakan Hakakonen Swarton Burger. Something like that, but whatever. She was cool, man. Fucking Päivi she was crazy. She'd probably like if NB was a thing back when I was a kid, she probably would have been an NB. She definitely presented NB, right? And that's what made her hot to me. That's why I fell in love with Päivi, because she did not look like a girl. She looked like a boy. She had her hair all spiked up, nose ring and shit, wore kind of like punky clothes, never in a dress or anything like that, or a skirt, or she was always wearing like just kind of punky fucking dude clothes. And dude, I fell head over heels in love with Päivi, and she thought it was the cutest fucking thing I could tell. In whatever the way Finnish people think something is cute. You have to understand, if you've never interacted with a Finnish person over a long period of time, and I'm not saying I know every Finn because I spent time with Päivi the Finn, but let's just say that like Finnish people they got a wavelength all their own. I don't know a better way to put it. And so I had to learn that what passed in America for negativity was actually positivity from Päivi, because I actually talked to my mom about it, I remember. And it wasn't like I was in love with Päivi. I just had a crush on her. But I told my mom about her. I was talking, I've got this foreign exchange student in my class from Finland. And my mom was like, "Oh, yeah?" And I said, "Yeah, I sit right next to her in French." She goes, oh, so you talked to her? And I was like, yeah, but, I don't think she likes me. And my mom goes, well, what makes you think she doesn't like you? And I told her, I was like, she's rude. She makes fun of me sometimes. Like, I mean, it's never like horrible. Like, I don't feel like she's like trying to like be mean to me or whatever, but it's just like, she's kind of dismissive, and she rolls her eyes at me a lot. And she calls me Parky instead of Paul. You know what I mean? All this shit. And my mom was like, all right, but does she talk to anybody else in the class? And I thought about it, and I was like, no, Pivy doesn't talk to anybody. And she was like, there you go. She likes you. She may not like you, but she thinks you're cool, at least. And I was like, oh, you're probably right. Once I got over that, like, little hump, my mom helped me with that shit, dude. Once I got over that little hump, I had a pretty cool friendship with Pivy. It was neat. We got on a roll with one another. We became friends because I started giving back what she was giving me. Like, I started treating her with that same kind of, like, brusque kind of dismissiveness and shit in my own way. And she fucking thought it was hilarious. Because I was so bad at it, and it would make her actually crack up. You know what I mean? Because she would see me trying to be Finnish, and I was so totally not Finnish. She had this whole joke where, like, her mom would send her care packages like twice a month, right back from Finland with her favorite shit. And one of the things she loved was this shit called salmiak, or salmiakki is what it was called. I think it's salmiak in other places, or it might just be salmiak. But anyway, she got me salmiakki, which is salted. Thank you. It's salted black licorice. No, it's not salty taffy, dudes. The salmiakki she got me was salty black licorice. And when I say salty, I don't mean like it's got a little salt inside of it and it's got a salty tang to it. I mean, it's literally caked in fucking sea salt. She got me one that was a skull. I actually kept it for a long time until it got moldy and I had to throw it out. It was a skull, a big one, like probably about yay big, all made out of black licorice. One of the eyes was a thing you could put your finger through, and the other eye was just solid salt. And she thought it was the funniest shit, dude. She would say, she'd come into fucking class, and she'd have a big grin on her face, which was weird. Because she was not a smiley person. And I was like, oh, fuck. She's like, it is salmiakki time. And I was like, dude, I don't want it. She's like, you have to eat it. My mom sent salmiak just for you. She would be so sad. And I'd be like, fuck you. And then she'd fucking like die laughing watching me eat it. She thought it was the funniest shit. It was great. It was a cool friendship, you know what I mean? Because she made it very explicit without even having to say it that shit was not going to go there. You know what I mean? So whatever little crush I had on her was not, it never went past that phase, you know what I mean? It didn't need to. Dude, that same year, there was a chick who was a foreign exchange student from Italy. Her first name was Valentina. And dude, every dude in the school was chasing her. Every fucking dude in the school chased Valentina. Except me. I didn't bother. Me and my friends didn't bother, but I'm just saying. She was the stereotypical, hot exchange student, and Pivy was not. Finland is such a strange culture. It seems more like a mythical fantasy land than a real place. Oh, I don't know about that, bro. Is Pivy good looking? Yeah. I mean, not like traditionally, I guess, but to me, yeah. Had an androgyny that I was into, I guess. Thank you for insightful conversation about religion and technology. Very interesting. You're welcome. Thanks for listening and the contribution. I will tell you this, though. You guys fucking wore me out with that shit. You guys fucking wore me straight to the bone with that fucking talk. I don't have another good take for you tonight. My brain, she is fried. But it was fun. Definitely an interesting talk. One that we've talked about before, I guess. In various ways. Maybe. But never all together as one kind of cohesive conversation. So it was cool. But now, all I have for you is a few more minutes of stoned rambling and then a good night. Because, yeah, I'm pretty done. Stick a fork in me, I am done. I have something like a day off tomorrow. So that'll be nice. Kinda. Oh, shit. Whoa. I went to Happy Land for a minute. I just got too comfortable laying there with my fucking eyeballs closed. Happy Land. All right, I'm going to go. I'll see you guys later. Have a good one. Good night.